I have to admit, in the end, I ended up probably being a sort of pony-mad child with Black Beauty, which I howled over night after night after night, and that was probably one of my favourites. And then you probably, because you're far too young, we had all these wonderful old-fashioned adventures, you know, wonderful children's stories, and you go on the adventures yourself as a child, you know, Swiss Family Robinson. My sister and brother and I, we always used to go off and camp and pretend we were, you know, stranded with just our animals for company. And it takes you into a sort of multitude of different worlds.
What if I told you a single tiara could spark royal tension that's been building for decades? We're not just talking sparkles and jewels here. This is about Princess Diana's most iconic piece, the Lover's Knot tiara. And now, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is stepping forward, not just to wear it, but to own it. Not everyone in the palace is happy about that, especially Queen Camilla. Insiders say Camilla's been shuffling tiara traditions backstage, and suddenly the Lover's Knot becomes more than a fashion statement. It becomes the crown jewel in a quiet royal tug-of-war. To the public, it might just look like Catherine wore a family heirloom, but inside those palace walls, it sent a much louder message that reignited old wounds, long-held resentments, and questions about who really carries Dillion's legacy. Because it's not just a tiara. It's about who gets to wear the heart of the people.
I remember going to bed at night and having, you know, quite bad dreams about them.
Well, they don't hold back, do they?
No, they don't hold back.
Yeah.
The setting was the annual diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace, a key event in the royal calendar. This night is usually about elegance, tradition, and showcasing unity to the world. Ambassadors and dignitaries from every corner of the globe were gathered under the palace chandeliers, expecting the usual royal show of grace and formality. But this year, something shifted the energy in the room. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, made her entrance, and all eyes were instantly on her. Dressed to perfection, but it wasn't just the dress that caught everyone's attention. It was what was on her head, the Lover's Knot tiara. A hush fell across the room. Conversations didn't stop completely, but they definitely slowed. The tiara Catherine chose to wear wasn't just beautiful, it was a symbol. This wasn't the first time Catherine had worn the Lover's Knot. But this time, it was different. The setting was grander, the stakes were higher, the room was filled with political power, international press, and the British royal hierarchy. Wearing that tiara on that night made it clear that Catherine was stepping into more than just a ceremonial role. She was stepping into Diana's legacy. Queen Camilla walked in shortly after, wearing her own regal piece, the George VI sapphire tiara. On the surface, everything looked smooth. She smiled, greeted guests, and carried herself with practiced calm. But royal watchers who've seen enough of these events picked up on something that felt off. There was a tiny pause in her step when she saw Catherine. Her smile grew a little tighter, and just for a second, her gaze lingered on the Lover's Knot before she turned away. Those who noticed that moment said everything changed. Suddenly, the night wasn't just diplomacy. It was about positioning, presence, power. Because here's the thing, to the outside world, it's just diamonds and pearls. But inside palace walls, it's emotional dynamite. The Lover's Knot tiara isn't just a fashion choice, it carries history. Queen Mary originally commissioned it in 1914 and passed it to Queen Elizabeth II, but it became iconic when it was gifted to Lady Diana Spencer in 1981 as a wedding gift, and from then on, it became Diana's signature piece. She wore it to state dinners, royal tours, and official portraits. The tiara symbolized the pressure she carried as a royal. Still, Diana wore it with grace. Even in the middle of her personal struggles, that tiara became part of her image. After Diana's tragic demise in 1997, the tiara was locked away in the royal vaults for nearly 2 decades. Then, in 2015, something changed. Catherine, then Duchess of Cambridge, wore it to a diplomatic reception, bringing it back into public view, and just like that, it felt like a Diana piece had returned. When Catherine wore that tiara, it wasn't just fashion, it was resurrection. Catherine had not only married into the family, she was now carrying its most cherished legacy, one that Camilla, even with the title of queen, could never quite claim. This is what makes the Lover's Knot so emotionally charged. It's not just a family jewel, it's a reminder of who the people chose. And now, that legacy sits firmly on Catherine's head, in public view and under palace lights. But behind palace doors, Let's just say not everyone was celebrating the sparkle.
Half of you wants to be scared. You know, you want to. You don't want to be scared too much, but it's that sort of frisson, isn't there? Of just being a little bit frightened.
According to royal insiders, Queen Camilla wasn't just quietly annoyed, she was working behind the scenes to shift the tiara game in her favor. A source close to the palace revealed that Camilla had quietly introduced what many are now calling the new tiara regulation. It's not a public rule, but more of an internal shift. The aim was to gain extended access to historically significant tiaras, especially ones that are emotionally or publicly powerful, and that includes Catherine's lover's knot tiara. Camilla argued that as queen consort, she should have priority over royal jewels with deep heritage. She pushed to have a say in which tiaras could be worn when and by whom. One source said Camilla believed pieces like the lover's knot should rotate, or at least be reclassified for shared ceremonial use. But here's the thing, royal tradition doesn't really work that way. Once a tiara is assigned to a royal woman, especially one as symbolic as this, it's hers for life. It's not passed around like an accessory. Aimed for Catherine, it wasn't just keeping a shiny crown, this was about protecting what that tiara represents: Diana, her story, her strength, and everything she endured while wearing it. Was this really about the tiara, or was it about who carries Diana's torch? Camilla, for all her years of service and her official title, still faces a complicated relationship with public opinion. She spent decades trying to overcome the shadow of being the other woman in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. Even after marrying Charles and becoming queen, that image lingers. Catherine, on the other hand, entered the royal family with grace and earned massive admiration. When she wears the lover's knot, it doesn't just bring back memories, it reclaims Diana's place in the public heart. People see it as a rightful continuation of a legacy, not a replacement. That difference matters. According to royal experts, Queen Elizabeth II was deeply aware of all this. Before her passing, she made the personal decision to assign the lover's knot to Catherine, not Camilla, and King Charles quietly supported the move. Once a tiara is assigned this way, it doesn't change hands. It's a permanent assignment. That means no matter how much Camilla may want it, she can never wear it. And that stung deeply. But Camilla wasn't going down without her own glittering counterattack. At a later public appearance, she showed up wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of the most treasured pieces in the royal collection. It was Queen Elizabeth II's personal favorite, often seen in her portraits and banknotes. Camilla meant to send a message that she too holds a key piece of royal history. Her look was elegant, the tiara was stunning, the gesture was clear, but the reaction was muted, because in the court of public opinion, diamonds mean nothing if the heart isn't in it. Catherine may not be queen by title, not yet, but she's already seen as one in spirit. Every time she wears Diana's tiara, she connects with the people on a level Camilla has struggled to reach for years. Camilla may sit beside the king, but it's Catherine who seems to carry the soul of the crown.
Hello, how are you?
Well, thank you so much.
How are you getting on? You
Right.
okay?
Look how smart he
I'm
is.
so smart.
He's very smart.
You imagine?
Yeah, exactly.
You bet you put a lot of thought into that.
What have you been doing?
What have you been doing?
We went to the photograph auction.
Photograph auction, and you sold. You were a bit of a beast at raffle ticket selling when we had the.
To understand this clash, we have to rewind all the way back to when Kate first entered the royal scene. When Catherine Middleton started dating Prince William, not everyone in the royal circle was thrilled. And according to some longtime insiders, Queen Camilla was one of those quietly skeptical voices. Reports suggest Camilla had early doubts about Kate's background. Coming from a middle-class family with no royal bloodline or aristocratic ties, Kate didn't fit the traditional mold of a future queen. Camilla, who had spent years climbing uphill for royal acceptance herself, reportedly questioned whether someone so ordinary could truly handle royal life. And yet, that's exactly what made Kate extraordinary to the public. Where Camilla spent decades trying to shed a controversial reputation, Kate was immediately embraced. Her elegance felt effortless. Her calm presence in royal duties made her relatable but regal. It wasn't just about being William's partner, partner, it was about showing she belonged in the future of the monarchy. Over the years, that contrast deepened. Camilla's journey was shaped by public judgment, complicated history, and a long fight for approval. Kate's journey was about grace under pressure and winning hearts without trying too hard. So when Catherine stepped out in Diana's Lover's Not Tiara, Camilla's longtime rival's signature piece, it wasn't just fashion, it was history repeating itself in a way that left Camilla firmly in the past.
We can talk, it was a taboo subject, and I think we can talk about it now, and if I can talk about it and bang the drum a bit, so can a lot of other people. So that's what I'm trying to do to help.
So what did this tiara really say? Everything the crown couldn't. The Lover's Knot isn't just Catherine's heirloom, it's her silent statement. That tiara doesn't need words. It speaks for itself. It carries decades of royal tension, heartbreak, and admiration. It connects Catherine not just to a title, but to a woman the world loved, Princess Diana. And in doing so, it places her right in the center of Diana's emotional legacy. Camilla may have the title queen. Legally, that crown is hers, but the public sees someone else standing in that light. Catherine isn't queen by royal decree, she's queen because the people feel she is. And in this quiet but undeniable battle between legacy and legality, it's clear who's already leading. One wears the crown, the other wears the memory. So who really wears the crown? The one with the jewels or the one with the people? Because that tiara isn't just about sparkle, it's about symbolism. Diana's memory hasn't faded. If anything, it's grown stronger. And now it lives on through Catherine, not just in appearance, but in spirit. So the question becomes, is the monarchy changing? And if it is, isn't Catherine already the face of that change? Let me know your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal updates.